it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a gold dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you only get mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those Muslim old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. And we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I had a good friend in New York City. He never called me by my name, just Hillbilly. My grandpa taught me how to live off the land, and his taught him to be a businessman. He used to send me pictures of the Broadway nights, and I'd send him some homemade wine. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life.
Welcome to the program, folks. I apologize for listening, as I love to do, to Hank Williams Jr. sing that song about country folks can survive. And this is your country folk in North Dakota, James Kelso, live on the American Freedom Party Report. We come to you live every Sunday at this time from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. It's necessary now to mention that that's U.S. time because we are heard all over the world. And our guests of late have included an extraordinary string of guests from South Africa. I am so proud to bring you yet another extraordinary patriot from South Africa who will be on the program with us. I just asked him if he could spare us 90 minutes of his time, because that's how long he'll be talking on our 2-hour show. So we bring you yet another extraordinary patriot from South Africa, and I would like to just preface this by saying that there is a purpose to this series of shows that we're bringing you. The American Freedom Party is passionately concerned about our cousins in South Africa, and we are the only political party that I know of in America that has brought to the fore what's happening in South Africa. We had a board of directors meeting yesterday at which I proposed that we insert into our party platform strong planks on what's going on in South Africa. And we also got a pledge from our presidential and vice presidential candidates, Ken Givenden for president and Mr. Bob Whitaker for vice president, a pledge from them that they will be speaking extensively and frequently about the crimes being committed against our kinsmen in South Africa. A genocide, an actual genocide, is going on right now in South Africa. millions of South African white folks are suffering in many ways, and our guest today will elaborate as much as we can in a mere 90 minutes. That's all we have. And there's so much going on in South Africa that it takes many shows to get into the topic and catalog the extent of what's going on in South Africa. Our guest today is Mr. Don Dion. He is joining us from Ireland. And we're most honored, Mr. Dion, to have you on the microphones here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, James. Let me just start off by thanking the American Freedom Party, Ken Giverton and yourself, and also Karen Smith for taking note of South Africans. It's the whole issue of our plight on American radio is probably the first time that South Africans have felt that there's somebody abroad taking note of their plight and giving them some hope. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
Well, the honor is ours, and Mr. Dion just mentioned Ken Giverton, and Ken Giverton will be hosting a show right after this program. So the hour immediately following the American Freedom Party report will bring you American Freedom Party news with Ken Giverton, and you will also hear Ken Giverton's show and my show on the Liberty Network. And we're so happy that Patriot Radio Networks are collaborating and joining forces, sharing programs. This is the direction to go, unity. This will be the theme that you will hear from the American Freedom Party throughout this presidential campaign and throughout the all of the activities of the American Freedom Party. You have heard in recent weeks, you have heard Kewen Elgin on this program, and I'm holding in my trembling hands my own copy of Bulala, the book by Kewen Elgin, about which we talked so much in last week. Bulala Tagadi, which means kill the wizard in Zulu. And that means kill us, actually. So we will be promoting this book in this show today and in shows to come. We'll be carrying this book on the American Freedom Party website. We're looking forward eagerly to the release of Kewen Elgin's next book, which is tentatively entitled Seven Stones, and which he thought he might have released this year.
Excellent.
And we've also heard from Dan Root from South Africa, also from Sunette Bridges, and now we are joined today by Don Dion. Don, could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, about just an introduction to what your work is currently, and just give a slight intro to yourself now, and we'll learn more about you as the show progresses.
Okay. Thanks, James. Basically, I'm what you would call a serial expat, and that I've lived in 3 or 4 different countries, not just visited them, but actually lived them, which has also allowed me to live in 3 or 4 different cultures and experience them. And the contrasts have been fairly explicit to me, and I've learned from all of that. So I left South Africa in 1997 after being involved in the media industry and seeing what's going on there. And I've just learned from then, and there's been challenges and conflicts all along, and I've always had this attitude in life to look for the silver lining in every cloud. And to me, the lining in every cloud has always been the lesson that you learn from whatever the conflict or challenge is. And that is what's brought it all together now in recent years as to what's going on in the world, and it all fits in. And hopefully I can impart some of that experience and insight to everybody to help us fight this big fight that we've got.
Well, folks, let me let you in on what went on before we went on the air here. I was so fortunate to have more than an hour to talk with Don on this Skype telephone from Ireland, and let me just say, as my own appreciation of what he's doing, Don Dion is doing a tremendous patriotic service. He has extraordinary ideas. He has a penetrating analysis of the problem. He has great solutions and programs with which we can solve the problems that we have. He was talking with me about problems, structural problems that we have, also problems of brainwashing that we have. And Don, I would like to just turn the show over to you, and as I was earlier, just listen to your wisdom about what has happened in South Africa, about how it connects with all of us, all white folks around the world, how South Africa is a window on our future, both for good or for ill, and the moral obligation that faces each one of us, every white person on earth, has a moral obligation to our brothers and sisters in South Africa. Please, in the course of this, Don, give folks websites where they can connect with your work.
Okay.
And go ahead. I'm just going to sit back in my easy chair here.
Okay. I think we can go right back to the beginning of South Africa in the 1600s. The reason why people left Europe was for religious freedom, but also aligned to all of that was the economic and greed, basically, behind the ships, why the ships went to the east to look for spices or whatever the case may be, which the reason for the establishment of Cape Town was economic. And that's been the driving force behind the expansion of mankind from Europe. And that is something we tend to overlook and not realize its impact on our lives. And behind that is the people who have this money, who are driving this economy, who use that money to influence society. And that really has been the backbone of what we call our civilization. So if we look in the South African context, the Afrikaners who established their own republics, they did so to get away from the English imperial force, which took over the Cape. And it's a clash between ideologies. They wanted freedom, they lived off the land, they were farmers, they had basic morals, religious people generally, whereas the English were all about commerce and gain and greed, etc., and increasing their influence, the influence also being the media. And throughout all of this, the media was always the key. It was always owned by the English in the empire anyway. And so these Afrikaners or Dutch people left. They set up 17 different Boer republics, each one being taken into section by the British until the very last one being the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic, in which the Great Boer War was fought very viciously after the discovery of gold and diamonds in this country. Now, the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic was an internationally recognized sovereign country, which the British took by force, killing 34,000 Boer women and children for gold, basically. And that really is, you can't get away from that economic money factor and how it influences. So then the way after that the war was fought was with media, because the Geneva Convention in 1900 stated you could no longer take territory through force. So they had to find other ways of influencing people. And the British had a very strong media presence in the South Africa. In fact, it was the only media presence. So as far as the world was concerned, what happened in South Africa was what the British said happened. And that has been the key throughout everything. Now, for the Afrikaner people in South Africa in 1925, they established the Naspers, as it's called, which is the traditional Afrikaans press. And it has been the traditional Afrikaans press ever since then. Now, that has always been influenced by the money powers, the money forces, or in South Africa we used to call it the Broederbond. And throughout all, they have basically structured the society and created the society's morals and needs and wants all the way through up until 1994 when Mandela took over, or was released at least. The Afrikaner people, numbering, was it 3 or 4 million, weren't told that this age-old media company has changed sides. They were still under the impression that Naspers was there to serve Afrikaners and to serve the white people, basically the Western civilized interests. But Naspers decided that they were going to go after the mass market, which was obviously 9 times more than their old market. They saw the dollar signs. And that's why they went after the black mass market, but they didn't inform the people, their traditional readership base. Now, Naspers is a monopoly which owns TV stations, newspapers, distribution companies, printing presses. Basically, they own almost everything as far as Afrikaans press is concerned. So they have a very, very strong influence. So suddenly their target market changed 180 degrees, but they didn't inform their readers. And that is their first, what I would call deceit, or their first treacherous act, where these people were still open to what they were reading in their newspapers, unaware of the fact that they were actually being manipulated and that they were actually being driven towards the ideology of the other side. So that is slowly through the last 20 years come to light. People have started realizing that they are being forced into a integrational society where everything has to be mixed, multiculturalism, because that is the agenda that Naspers adopted. So they've now recently set up a thing called Boycott Naspers, where overnight 30,000 people. Hello, are you still there?
Yes. Can you hear me, Don?
Yeah, sorry, I just got another call from RBN Skype too. It's okay.
Okay. Are we all one happy family here on the air?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. These now, Don, I had a question for you, right there in your narrative. A very important point in South African history was the 1994 election, in which white South Africans made a very critical vote, in which they granted political power to the black majority in South Africa. Mm-hmm. And what was this betrayal of the Afrikaner press that you're talking about? Mm-hmm. What was the timeline for this? Did this affect that election?
Well, yes. At the time, I was actually publishing newspapers for the black townships in the Western Cape. And up until then, obviously, the Afrikaans media wasn't interested. But towards the end of 1993, they approached me for a minority partnership. And then as the election came closer, they turned around and said, no, they wanted a majority partnership, that they've made a fundamental decision that they're going to address the mass market. So it was a conscious decision at board level of this massive organization to start addressing the mass market, obviously because there was lots of money involved. There was lots of money flowing into South Africa from abroad for anybody who was doing anything for the black market, because it was politically correct. So, as I said, it was a conscious decision by them to start addressing the mass market, but they didn't tell their traditional user base.
A key point. Hold that thought right there. Don Dion will be back, folks, right after this break.
How did a country founded on freedom and limited government end up with the largest, most intrusive government in world history? The process has been ongoing for a long time, and it won't change as long as the Democrat and Republican parties continue to dominate the political system in the United States. It's time to face some unpleasant facts. Americans used to say, it can't happen here. Well, it can, and it has. America has become unrecognizable. We are living in a dark era where not only freedom is under direct attack, but even truth. The institutions of power and control have essentially merged into one giant organism, one that does not trust or believe in the American people. It's time to break up the Democrat-Republican death grip on power and return America to Americans. It's time to regain our freedom by supporting the American Freedom Party. The American Freedom Party represents the American people and will return our nation to greatness. You can be part of the solution by joining the American Freedom Party for just $25. Send your $25 membership to the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Again, that's the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
A to Z Publications is your one-stop source for books written by Dr. Adrian H. Krieg. Dr. Krieg is a Renaissance man whose knowledge of the issues of the day and the needed solutions is unsurpassed. Dr. Krieg has written 13 books, titles such as Rendezvous with the New World Order, Obama's Nightmare Plan, Oz and the New Millennium, and others are available online from A to Z Publications. Go to A to Z Publications and order today. That's the letter A, the number 2, the letter Z, publications.com. Or write A to Z Publications, Post Office Box 110163, Bradenton, Florida, 34211.
Welcome back, folks. You're listening to the American Freedom Party Report. James Kelso, your host here, live from North Dakota. Our guest is Don Dion, live from Ireland, and we are discussing the ongoing genocidal crisis in South Africa, what is befalling 4 million brothers and sisters of ours, and we will talk about some of the things going on with our guest, Don Dion. Just a bit of housekeeping before we go back to Mr. Dion. Please disregard the American Freedom Party address you just heard in the ad that I just ran. Shame on me. It's our old address, and I'm going to give you the correct address now. First thing to do is, if you want to contact the American Freedom Party, go to our website, which is theamericanfreedomparty.us. Everything you need is there. All the information on membership, mailing address, contact phone numbers, theamericanfreedomparty.us. And now, for those of you who may have written down the wrong address, the correct address is American Freedom Party, 2753 Broadway, Suite 245, New York, 10025. And if you were to write New Amsterdam, New Netherlands, I don't know if the mail would arrive, but that was the former name of New York. New York was New Amsterdam, New Netherlands, where my Dutch ancestors, I didn't get a chance to tell you this, Don, I am a Vanderbilt. And the Vanderbilt's Cornelius Vanderbilt, who was at one time, I think, the wealthiest man in the world, was a Dutchman whose great-great-grandfather was among those who founded New Amsterdam at the very same time that other Dutchmen and Huguenots were settling and creating South Africa at the very same time in the 17th century. And, one of the things we talked about, Don, before the show was the amazing parallel between our American founding and our American founding people and the founding and the people of your country.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the pioneer spirit that created the two countries, two great countries, is fantastic, and it is still there. And essentially you've had the mechanisms where these new countries were found, settler communities were established, and then people started pouring in and flooding into the interior, moving in, whatever the case may be. And these pioneers were all self-determined people, looked after themselves, they could survive anywhere with anything, etc., etc. But all the while, all along, there was always just one step behind them, this, you could call it corporate demon that was following them. All along, you'll see the path.
But, another demon that's been right, on our footsteps all along, Don, and one that we have to wrestle with now and overcome is our infighting among ourselves as Europeans, as white people. We have a very unfortunate propensity to engage.
Yes, I wouldn't go so far as saying unfortunate. Unfortunately, that is what we are. Remember, there's a reason why these people left Europe in the first place, is because they're independent people.
Yes, exactly.
They don't subscribe to the what there is in that society. They wanted religious freedom, or whatever the case may be, so they left. They went to the new countries, and you need that independent spirit, that free-mindedness, to be able to adapt in a new country and in the wild.
Yes.
You can't be a dependent person that's subscriptive on your own in a wild country. So that is a plus. We need to obviously find a way of working it out. And even in modern day Netherlands now, there's still this so-called stubbornness where people can't agree with things. And in Belgium, for instance, I don't know if you know, I think it was almost a year that our country was without a government because they couldn't agree.
Yes. And, I like the way, Don, you frame this. I'm going to alter my own presentation of this concept, following the lines that you just sketched out. It is a virtue. It is our strength, the
way to overcome it is we need to find a common enemy. We don't need to concentrate on what makes us different. We need to concentrate on where we're the same.
Okay, and we're going to hold the thought, Don. We're going to come right back to that after another break. So stay tuned, folks.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Free Your Mind returns to Philadelphia April 10th, 11th, and 12th, 2015, with a 3-day conference featuring top-caliber whistleblowers and researchers from across the country who will shed light upon our world's problems and bring forward empowering solutions. To get your tickets and to donate, go to www.freeyourmindconference.com. Free your mind. It's your world. It's your future. Empower yourself.
What will you do without freedom? That's the question the American Freedom Party is asking as a high-tech surveillance state continues to be constructed in the one-time land of liberty. Through methodical gradualism over many years, the United States has been hollowed out economically and morally. The Republican Party is little more than a partner in crime to the open globalism and cultural Marxism of the Democrats. Both parties support the offshoring of American industry and jobs, open borders, endless wars of aggression all over the world, and slavish obedience to Israel and to the banksters and gangsters of Wall Street. The American Freedom Party is guided by the sole principle of supporting what's good for America and Americans. The American Freedom Party rejects the archaic liberal conservative paradigm in favor of an outspoken advocacy of freedom and liberty that rings true to America's traditional values and way of life. The hour is late, but America can yet survive and begin to thrive again if enough Americans act to regain their freedom. The alternative is too bleak to contemplate. Learn more about the American Freedom Party and join us by going to theamericanfreedomparty.us. That's theamericanfreedomparty.us.
Has your dancing and romancing done gone away? Are you moaning and a-groaning from the stresses of the day? Are you reeling and a-peeling because a headache's on the way? Well, relax for just a moment. Stress relief is on the way. Of what am I speaking, you ask? The essential oils of long historic use, the wisdom of the ages, the health care of the ancients, frankincense, myrrh, hyssop, and hundreds of others too numerous to mention. What could be more appealing? Do you know that Young Living Essential Oils has an element of life that makes them extremely effective in body rejuvenation? This element is called vibration, and it works with body systems, not against them. The professionals at Divine Living Oils have tested and been so impressed with this product that we are using them to help others. And who are we? We are health professionals with many years' experience. Trust us, we have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our motto? Because we care about you. Do your health and spirit a great favor. Call us at 304-542-4226. That's 304-542-4226. Again, that's 304-542-4226.
You are tuned into the American Freedom Party Report. We're running Ken Givenden for president in 2016 and Mr. Bob Whitaker as our vice presidential candidate. I'll be talking about the Givenden-Whitaker campaign throughout this and all of our future shows as we go towards the 2016 presidential election. With our guest, Don Dion, we're talking about the propensity or the trait of fighting among ourselves, criticizing ourselves that is apparently inherent genetically in us as European people and white people around the world, whether we're in Australia, Canada, South Africa, Argentina, America, or any of the European countries. And this is a strength, but it has led to tragedies. And I think one of the challenges, Don, for us now is to spiritually, philosophically find a way to not get ourselves embroiled in such things. And here's another parallel between your South African people and our American people. We had, as our greatest catastrophe in our history, a civil war in which incredibly 620,000 at least of our finest young folks slaughtered each other completely needlessly in our history. It created divisions that persist to this day. We have to overcome them. And, you know, how we were so blind to our own interests as a race that we actually fought among ourselves is astonishing. And when you read the history, folks, of the Anglo-Boer War of the turn of the last century, where these incredible Voortrekker Boers, these incredible pioneers, were fought by the British in a very brutal war, every bit as brutal as our American Civil War, to the great loss of everybody, of the Boers and of the British themselves. What should have been a great cooperation of two peoples in the creation of an amazing nation, which South Africa was, and and could still be if it's rescued. And of course we have other instances of this, Don. World War I was entirely unnecessary. World War II, entirely unnecessary. War after war that we fought, the 100 Years' War, a calamity. The 30 Years' War led to my own ancestors leaving Germany and coming down the Rhine and leaving the Netherlands, because in that 30 Years' War, again, there was brutal fighting between Catholics and Protestants, utterly needlessly, and to the loss of both Protestants and Catholics.
Absolutely, and once again, behind all of that is always the money power, the aim for the money power. That's what's behind the wars. The Catholic-Protestant war as well. It was to depose the Catholic hold that they had on the world. But now, going back.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to go back to the conflict amongst people. The fact remains, I don't know if anybody knows, there was even a plot to assassinate Mandela amongst his Robben Island colleagues. Now, it's just a perception that it's only whites or us that are fighting amongst each other, but we don't control the media, so the other side has the opportunity to pick on us and explode whatever they want to explode. There's a lot of things that happened in the ANC that have never come to light, so we don't know about all the infighting and all the different personality clashes they had, etc., etc. So I wouldn't say it's that much of a problem. If we're all focused and we had a common goal and we had a common enemy, it will very quickly dissolve. And then on top of that, there's this thing of maybe we're just too comfortable, that if we're in a position where we can still accept or can still complain or argue with each other, then maybe it's not that bad. But once we get to a situation where there's 150,000 of us stuck in on a refugee camp somewhere on a border, then maybe we're very quickly going to start agreeing with each other.
And there enters South Africa into our history and into our consciousness as white people. Folks, we're staring at our future in what is happening to Don Dion's country and his people.
Absolutely, and the key here is the situation that the people in South Africa are in at the moment. A lot of the people know that they have to move, they've got to go somewhere. And really the choice at the moment is you either move now, while you can take everything you've got with you and do it at your own pace and with some of your own choices, or you do it in a few years' time when you're forced to, and you're probably lucky to get out with your life only. And that is where that courage comes in, to have the courage of the conviction and to know, to make that bold step. Because people are very, very comfortable in their corporate lives with their salaries.
Well, now, Don, what we're going to generate with the American Freedom Party and dedicate ourselves to, we are going to be banging the drums and blowing the trumpets to spread the truth about what's going on in South Africa. We're going to put pressure on our American politicians, on our American institutions, our news media. One of the things that we talked about at the Board of Directors meeting yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about an American Freedom Party mission to South Africa, and we will endeavor to send our Foreign Secretary, Tom Sunik, to South Africa. And he will then be able to bring out of South Africa and spread around the world his observations of what is happening in South Africa, and to awaken white folks to the religion, the false religion that the left has been spreading, which is a religion of multiculturalism, of diversity, a communist ideology, which is based entirely on bad science and falsehoods, has never been shown to work in any country, anywhere, and has led only to death for everyone who's been led down that path. And it's now most evident in South Africa, where whites have become a minority that has ceded political power to a multicultural world in which those people who thought they were going to get fair treatment have had a rude awakening. Okay. I think there's a technical difficulty. Okay. Sure.
Take the children and yourself and hide out in the cellar. By now, fighting will be close at hand. Don't believe the church and state and everything they tell you. Believe in me, I'm with the high command. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running? Can you hear me running? Calling you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running? Can you hear me running? Calling you. There's a gun.
What happened?
Okay. Now, folks, this is James Kelso. You're listening to the American Freedom Party Report. We have as our guest Don Dion, and we just experienced a technical difficulty there. And, I find this, Don, to be part of the rough and tumble and the excitement of live radio, and also the excitement of building alternative media. What you and I and our audience are doing, and the extraordinary engineers at Republic Broadcasting, we are getting a live signal out there, much more interesting and obviously authentic than the signal that you're getting from your mass media, your controlled media, like that media that's betrayed your people in South Africa, Don. But we're doing this on a shoestring, and we are improvising. We use using this extraordinary gift, the internet and the World Wide Web and live radio on that World Wide Web. We're using this to build an alternative media, and the overall effect is that we are creating an amazing alternative media that is just flabbergasting our enemies. The big companies like
I agree. I think the advent of the internet has had such a major impact, and I think if it wasn't for that, we'd probably all still be stuck to our TVs, following their agenda, not aware of what's going on. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it might not have happened. People think don't take this for granted, folks. There are several. This is not the time or place to detail. A very interesting program, though, is the history of the internet, how it came to be, and how we happen to have right now a World Wide Web. It could have gone a different direction, folks. Don't take for granted the fact that you have a system right now where you can get the truth 24 hours a day. It's available to you on this amazing thing that you can access with a computer that you can have for as little as $200.
That just one point there. In South Africa, I think a large portion of people, especially our people, are accessing it via their mobile phones or their cell phones, as we call it.
I didn't know that.
That's a very, very large majority, because obviously a lot of our people are economically suppressed, and money doesn't go around to have computers, etc. To a lot of people is a luxury. So a lot of people are using their cell phones.
I did not know this, and we're being educated by you, by Dan Root, by Sinette Bridges, by Q Elgin. Stephen Goodson has been a guest here on the microphones, and now we're joined by Don DeYoung. This is a very important point. So we need to make sure that all of our programs are readily accessible.
Absolutely. Although the websites that I'm doing, like sky.co.za, siec.co.za, I always make sure that they are mobile friendly. And it's one of the reasons why there's such a big presence of our people on Facebook, is because it's very convenient to use with cell phones.
Okay, this is a key point. And let's, if you could repeat that slowly for our audience, Don.
Yeah.
What you mentioned?
Yes, you mentioned alternative media, and we need to set up alternative media, and that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
So for the English, I've got sky.co.za, sky.co.za, and then for the Afrikaans, I've used siek.co.za. Now, it's a bit of a cheeky move, in that SAIK is what used to be the national broadcaster for the Afrikaans people in South Africa prior to 1994. And that like the Naspers, like the big media monopoly, the national broadcaster for South Africa, the Afrikaners used to live and breathe and eat, and that was, their daily staple. Obviously, when 1994 came along and the genocide started and the communist agenda started, you need to suppress as many nationalities and cultures and traditions as possible. And that's gradually they've been kicking Afrikaans off the channels, off the public broadcaster. In fact, only last week they announced that they kicked off about 6 of the traditional languages, including Afrikaans, off the news broadcasts. Which is why I then decided to actually use that name, SAIK. And basically, my motto is that we're taking back our heritage, which is exactly what we're doing.
Now, I'm clicking onto these sites as you mentioned them, Don. So, folks, I just went to SAUK, I'll Americanize that pronunciation for you, Don, to sauk.co.za.
That's correct.
I'm there now. Another website that Don mentioned is sky, sky.co.za. And with your pencils handy, here's another one, safa.net, SAFFA.net.
That's correct. Safa.net is basically aimed at the diaspora of South Africans. There's 1 million of us abroad that have left since 1994, obviously to pursue our futures, the brain drain. Many people, I myself, in fact, after the Naspers stole my newspapers with an aggressive takeover in 1995, I actually went to BP and Shell in Cape Town to apply for work, and I was told I've got the wrong color skin. And that basically, put the writing on the wall, and that's when I left. So many people have left, and as I said, the figures going out is that it's up to 1 million people that are in the diaspora. So that is what I've aimed Safa.net, because Safa is the colloquialism for a South African abroad.
Okay,
so
and now I'm set.
I set up Safa.net to try and get all those people that have been lucky to leave to help those back home that are stuck. Because remember that a lot of the people that are in South Africa are stuck there. They don't have a choice. They don't have visas or ancestral visas. They don't have qualifications. They don't have the money. South Africa is making it very difficult for them to leave. An added problem is that all the Africans from other African states that have been allowed to flood into Africa by the ANC regime, especially Nigerians, have taken advantage of South African passports to get to Western countries, to the extent that these Western countries have had to limit access by South Africans to them, and that has obviously impacted on the white people. So
yes.
It's very difficult.
Folks, if you've been listening to the interviews we've had with Dan Root, Sinette Bridges, Hugh and Elgin, Stephen Goodson, and now Don DeYoung, you have learned that there are, I don't know what the figure that you have, Don, is, but we've heard a number of squatters of white people, formerly part of the South African prosperous and productive middle class, who are living in tin shacks. You're not going to believe this. I learned this yesterday, folks. The ground that they're living on in hundreds of squatter camps is in many cases, garbage dumps. The black government of South Africa has actually bulldozed some of the more livable squatter camps and forced your cousins, your kinsmen, to live in garbage dumps on the dirt with no electricity, no running water, no sewage, no schools, nothing, no assistance, no food. And this is hundreds of thousands of people in a nation of only about 4 million white people in South Africa. This is the greatest catastrophe befalling white people in the world today, and one of the greatest genocides, maybe the greatest genocide happening in the world today. And by every definition of genocide is being fulfilled. Pardon this break. We'll be back right after the break talking about the genocide in South Africa.
How did a country founded on freedom and limited government end up with the largest, most intrusive government in world history? The process has been ongoing for a long time, and it won't change as long as the Democrat and Republican parties continue to dominate the political system in the United States. It's time to face some unpleasant facts. Americans used to say, it can't happen here. Well, it can, and it has. America has become unrecognizable. We are living in a dark era where not only freedom is under direct attack, but even truth. The institutions of power and control have essentially merged into one giant organism, one that does not trust or believe in the American people. It's time to break up the Democrat-Republican death grip on power and return America to Americans. It's time to regain our freedom by supporting the American Freedom Party. The American Freedom Party represents the American people and will return our nation to greatness. You can be part of the solution by joining the American Freedom Party for just $25. Send your $25 membership to the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Again, that's the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here is what people are saying.
A year ago, I was realizing that I was in serious problems with my heart. You know, I had these chest pains and so on. I realized that I had to do something and quick. I didn't want to go the medical route. So I started in doing some investigating, and somebody told me about these heart drops. I got on the heart drops prescribed dosage. Within 2 weeks, I immediately started seeing the results. This is working. I'm going to stick with it. I can't deny the fact that when I got on the heart drops initially, there was immediate help, an immediate turnaround.
To get your Extendovite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You're a part of America. There's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats.
Welcome back, folks. We're talking about the genocide in South Africa, and the genocide is against your people and mine. White people in South Africa are being murdered at an unprecedented rate. They are being thrown out of their homes. They are being deprived of their jobs. They are being put into squatter camps. I learned yesterday, Don, that there are white people living in their cars who actually are hoping to get in to a squatter camp. And the reason being that it is so unsafe with black gangs and thugs and criminals that can kill them and rob them in their cars or in their tents or wherever they are, that they're actually glad to get into a wretched squatter camp.
Absolutely, and it's basically the entire civilization is crumbling, and it's all of these are symptoms of that taking place. It's if you basically take a Western country and dump it in the middle of Africa and then leave it to its own devices, that's exactly what's happened. The police force is no longer a police force. The hospitals are no longer hospitals. It's basically African standards. And that is, like I said, if you can take a town from Midwest America and go and dump it in Uganda, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Those are African standards. Now, you mentioned the genocide just before the break. There are 5 acts of genocide according to the UN, and every single one of those 5 acts are taking place in South Africa.
Can you list them?
Yeah, the first one is killing members of the group. Now, a group is a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. So the first one, killing members of the group, which we see every day, especially with farm murders that are taking place. Secondly, is causing seriously bodily or mental harm to members of the group. Thirdly, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction, which the squatter camp is more than qualifies. Secondly, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. And then lastly, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Now, the last one I know for a fact is actually taking place. It is a policy in South Africa that white people cannot adopt white babies.
Oh my goodness.
If you go to the adoption agency in South Africa and say you want to adopt a baby, it will have to be a black one. You do not have a choice. Possibly with your second or third adoption, they might allow you to get a white one. Furthermore, there's probably something like 5 million orphans in South Africa. Obviously, this is black and white and colored. Only about 5,000 a year actually get placed. So you can only wonder what's going on. The systems are simply not working. Now this brings us to the fact is whether the genocide is taking place deliberately or not is besides the point. It is taking place. White South Africans are used to a certain civilized kind of life, and they've now basically been forced down to the African way of life. Is that right? Is it not right? Obviously, the world thinks that they deserve it, and that to some extent is part of what we need to address.
Well, yeah, and of course the world has no idea, because of the misinformation, disinformation that they have gotten for decades in the controlled media, they have no idea what the nature, the character of the South African white people is. We'll be talking about that in just a minute, Don. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after this break.
With financial uncertainty